Greetings and welcome to another edition of our Sunday service entitled Experiencing Tagaloa. It's a program where we unlock the spirituality of our Samoan culture so we can use those, the theology, the philosophy, and the mindset behind our culture to nurture leva, to be mindful of the between. Falefatu Samoa ilo mai mo tapo e mai tato polo kalame ili nei fo sa o tato polo kalame o fasino manga o Tagaloa o polo kalame tato te au ili nai matala noa ina ia le matau sili ia por filosofia foi o le i tonu o tato ngano me au mai mena i ta pena i tau singa o le va no foi i tonu no tonu ainga. I must say, this week I wanna talk about respect. Respect. In Samoan, respect means Faaaloalo. Faaaloalo. What is respect? Respect is a deep admiration you have for somebody. Deep admiration you have for somebody for something they have achieved, for something that they stand for, and for the person that they are. Respect. And that is good to know that in you, but you need to show that respect. Show that respect, to acknowledge the fact to the other person that this is how you feel, this is how much you admire them, by showing respect. Respect in Samoan means Faaaloalo. Faaaloalo. And it's a word made up of two words, well, three words actually. Faaaloalo. You will find this word alo in many Samoan words. For example, in the word for love, alofa, you have alo, fa. What it means in alofa is, alo means to face. What you see is what you get. What is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine. So when you say alo, facing each other, spiritually, fa means four. The four is talking about the four corners of the Samoan fale, the round fale. People in the front, people in the back, and people on that side and that side. So the whole house is covered in this circle. So it's complete. So when they say yalo fa, it means we are all in it together, and what we have is ours. It's individuality coming to unity in diversity. And so in the word for respect, faaaloalo, alo being the key word, it wasn't enough to say it once, they had to say it twice, because that's how important respect is in our Samoan culture. As a matter of fact, it is one of the key factors of our culture, and that is faaaloalo, respect, and alofa, love. Respect, deep admiration, deep adoration, if you will, of somebody. And you've got to show that, to acknowledge to the other party how you feel about them. Growing up in the village as a young boy, every Saturday, one of the entitled men of the village would come with a conch shell and he'd blow it. And that is the signal for all the entitled men of the village that it's time for them to come and go fishing, get some fish for the tornai on Sunday. So they would all come, and there would be about 25 to 30 untitled men, and they would all pull out their canoes, 30 canoes going out. I've always wanted to go because I've always watched them, and I wanted, you know how when you're a kid you want to do all the grown-up things. Until one Saturday my uncle Sia'anga said, come on, get in, we'll go. And it was like my Christmas coming early for me. So we went out into the ocean, close to the reef, so we're really out there. And then they stopped at where there's a clear patch of sand, no coral. So they made a circle with these 30 canoes. they were starting to prepare themselves to dive into the water. But before they did, all of them start beating on the side of the canoe, making this rhythmic sound. And, sitting there, listening to it, not understanding what's going on. And then they dived in, they went fishing, and they went in. And in their belt, they would have a little iron rod thing poking out of the side of the belt. And that's where they have the fish. If you go down there and you can hold your breath, some of them would come up with 3 fish, all pulled into their belt. They would put the 3 fish in the canoe, get their breath back, and down they go again, and the same thing. One thing I asked my uncle, after, I said, how come none of you get shot? Because how they fish, it's a spear about that long and about that thin, like my pinky. And then a Shanghai whangamimei thing, and you put the thing and then you shoot it. And I asked my uncle, how come none of you get shot? And he said, no, we don't shoot across, we shoot down. See, that's why we beat on the side of the canoe. We beat on the side of the canoe. It sends those vibrations into the water that makes the fish go to sleep. Said, and so when the fish goes to sleep, it digs its head into the sand. That's why we pick the batch of sand to fish at. So they dig their head into the sand, and all you see is their tail, not wiggling, but just flowing with the current. And so we go down there and we shoot down instead of across. I said, that's interesting, I didn't know that. And then my uncle said, and there's something else you didn't know. You know when they lead the cows and the sheep to slaughter, they say that as they're leading them up the ramp, there'll be hundreds of them, leading them one by one up the ramp. They say the animals know that they are going to get killed. And so they're all stressed out and they all panic. And they said, that's the meat we eat, from a panicked animal, from a stressed out animal. But the fish that we catch when we go out fishing on Saturday, it's so relaxed. That's why it's so easy to eat the oka and make the oka, because the meat is so tender and without the stress and without the panic that other animals do when they are led to the slaughter. Anyhow, now they get back into their canoes. And we were going to move on to another batch of sand, find another batch of sand. But while they were getting into the canoes, there was one guy that I've noticed, I was watching, and he's been eating this fish raw, and it's a bonge. Bonge is the fish that all Samoans love to eat raw. And it was a big fat bonge, and he was eating away, so everybody was getting back in their canoes while this guy is eating and gutting the fish and throwing it into the water, into the sea. All of a sudden, we hear this roar from the eldest of all the entitled men, and he started really giving it to this guy. And he said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And the guy was, looked like he knows he shouldn't have done it. And what are you doing? What the heck are you doing, gutting the fish and throwing it back in the... What kind of a... You go back and get that. Get back and put it back into your canoe. And you bury it in the sand when we get back. And so he did. And this guy that he was telling off, he was, if it's possible, he was bigger than a rock and younger. And this guy is so old. But see, this is the respect. He knew what he did was wrong. He wasn't even thinking. So without a word, he just got back into the water, swam a little bit, collected all the gut from the fish that he threw in, and put it back in. And so we went on, continued with our fishing. But when we got back, I watched if he was going to do it, and he did. He went over with his hand, dug a hole in it, like a little boy, like a little kid, and put it in, and just doing what he was told by this older person of the entitled men of the village. What I'm saying is that there is this is respect. Here's a young guy who could have easily said something back or not even bother with it, but he did. It's that respect because he admired where the older guy was coming from, reminding him of his responsibility. Because later I found out, especially with Tagaloa tradition, when we eat the food that we eat, we are putting something, taking the life out of something so we can put food on our plate. There are birds, the chicken that we have was alive, but that life was taken out so we can prepare it as food to nourish the life that's beating in us. Same as the fish. The fish was alive, but now the fish has made the sacrifice so we can have something, food, to eat, to nourish the life that is in us. That is what the old man was talking about, this respect. The ocean just gave us food to eat. And this is the thank you show back? This is the respect? No, this is disrespect. This is biting the hand that feeds you. And so the guy who was bigger than the rock knew that he was right. And this is the respect that we have, and this is the respect he had. He reminded everybody that was on the fishing trip about respecting life. So now every time I have a meal as a Faaaloalo of the Tagaloa tradition, that's what goes through my mind. A sacrifice has been made, so food is on my plate to nourish the life that is in me. Because there will come a time when your body and my body will be buried into the Mother Earth, and we become the food, the minerals to support the life of Mother Earth and creation, the plants, the insects, everything else. And when I start understanding that, there needs to be that respect. Not just the respect between people, but the respect between us and nature. And remember, nature is what our ancestors saw as God. Tagaloa, respect, Faaaloalo. Faaaloalo between us and our gods. Faaaloalo between us and nature. And Faaaloalo between you and yourself. To show that Faaaloalo in Samoan culture, we use the word tulo. Tulo. Which one Palangi, silly Palangi said, you know, the word tulo in Samoa comes from the English word tu, T-O-O, and lo, L-O-W. Oh, come on. This is why it's important to tell our stories. Otherwise, these Palangi guys will miss our story and our language up, like they did with our stories. Anyway, tulo is two words made up of, one word made up of two words. Two words are tu and lo. Tu means to stand up, to be upright. Lo means something that is up there, bring it down. Contradicting words. Our ancestors thought it'll be good to merge them together and use that word to show respect. So what do these two words mean? I think it's talking about people without and those with, to the young people and to the elderly people. To the young people, when they walk past an elderly person, they would bend their knees and crouch down and walk past them and say the word tulo, tulo. See, tu symbolizes uprightness, strength. And this refers to the young people, the youth. And lo means to bring down. So our culture is saying to the young people, find humility in your heart to bring that strength of mind, strength of body, and everything is blooming in your life. You're growing, you're like a sponge, you're absorbing everything. Stop everything. But bring yourself down and look at the older people and have admiration in your heart for them. Why? Because in older people you will find wisdom. In older people, you will find good counsel. Older people have been through life many years and they made tons of mistakes. So they know what to do and what not to do. And that's where you get this good counseling. Older people, you'll learn about leadership. And that's why, even though you're strong, you're upright, you're young, the agility of youth, learn in humble humility to bring yourself down and have admiration for what's down there. This is where you find wisdom. This is where you learn about leadership. And this is where you learn good counseling for the betterment of yourself, your family, and the community. And that is why our elders thought, bring these two sides of the coin together that contradict each other. It's always the case. The young people and the old people. Those who have limited knowledge of the culture and the language, and those who have the treasure of knowing because they've lived the culture and have spoken the language. And again, these are the two elements for the two entities, the Tausingo Uiva'a. For nurturing the between, the Tausingo Uiva'a, to nurture relationships between two people in the family and in the community, we need respect. And we need to show that respect by saying tulo. That's why in big cultural events, before the talking chief starts on his lauma, for 10 minutes, he will say tulo here, and he will say tulo to Tagaloa, the god of the land. He will say tulo to the ancestors and the spirits and the silent whispers. He will say tulo to all the chiefs that are present at the moment, because it's not just them, also the families to whom this title belongs. He will say tulo to everybody before he even starts his speech, because it's a sign of respect, because this is the way we nurture our relationship. Tausinga Uiva'a. This is why they have the Faaaloalo. Faaaloalo is when they are looking for who's going to be the speaker of the event. So one chief, talking chief from one district would stand up, and the other one from the other, and so forth. Everybody wants to be the one to speak. Eventually, everybody will say yes and agree on this one person. And so when you stand up there and you're speaking, you have covered everything, because you know how to nurture the between. With the language, body language, and your words, you were able to nurture the between you and other talking chiefs. So when they listen to your lauma, they will take it all in, and they will understand, because they know the sort of person you are. You are Talamua Media. And that's our theme for this week. And we hope and pray that this will be the guiding light for our journey this week. Respect Faaaloalo, Uiva'a. From all of us here in Samoa, to all of you in the diaspora, Tofa Soifua, Maia Oto Manuia.